Hello, everyone. This is SIG scheduling bi-weekly meeting. And yeah, this meeting is recorded, so behave nice. Let's get started. So the first one I just put is the email address change. Mailing list address change. So we had used the that's good. Okay, this So previously we had used Kubernetes SIG scheduling at Mark googlegroup.com, but we migrated to SIG scheduling at Mark uh, Kubernetes.io. So if you send some, release message or any other messages to the mailing list, then you have to use this mailing list. And the members will be already copied to the new mailing list. So just for people who just subscribe the mailing list, you don't have to do anything. You should be joining the new one already. So yeah, that's about it. Dominic, did us change?
Yes. So, as probably everyone knows, there is a change in leadership of SIG scheduling. Aldo, Wei, and Abdullah are stepping down, and Kanzai, myself, and Maciek Skoczeń are taking over the leadership. So the changes are actually submitted. There is only one remaining one. And I think Maciek has to do some training. So once this is done, we can close it. So first of all, thanks for all previous leaders for leading the SIG scheduling for those years. I think scheduler is super nice and stable component, and we should be proud of it, and we should make sure it will evolve in the same stable fashion as so far. So big challenge ahead of us. But on the other hand, super exciting work.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I think that's all about this point.
Actually, this one I checked with Wei, and Wei wants to keep himself in the list. So this one, like
Okay.
approval stuff. So we shouldn't remove him. And Abdullah, I messaged him, but haven't got any response, so I'm not sure. So for now, we can just remove Aldo from there. But yeah, let's see.
So do you think we should hold on with this one?
I think we can just merge this one, and if Abdullah wants to step down as well from the approval, then we can submit another PO.
So there is only Aldo as a
Yeah,
reviewer.
for now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for now, we can just remove Aldo, and when the time comes, then we can remove others.
Yeah. So as far as I know, we have to. Yeah. Okay. So I see there are comments already.
Yeah. Right. So that's probably it. And the next one cap.
Yes. So I originally wanted to talk about the array caps review because there are 3 caps in flight that I was looking at. So the first one is about introducing mixins. So first of all, I will maybe introduce what I want to discuss. So there are the array caps I'm reviewing. So first of all, I'm wonder how we want to like communicate and approve those changes because this one I already approved. On the other hand, maybe we should discuss it first on the forum to have good understanding agreement between us, or do you want to leave the decision on me? I guess the first option is is better.
Yeah, I think we should. But okay, so it's schedule scheduling cap, right? So it's about the of course scheduler. Then
So I
yeah,
think we can simply try to discuss the caps before approving them so that everyone is aware what's going on there.
yeah,
So maybe next time, yeah, we
yeah,
we should reach some conclusion and first of all understanding of what we are approving. So
yeah, sounds good.
regarding this one, so this is a change that seems small because the proposal here is to move some of the attributes, counters, and so on into separate definition, which can be referenced by other devices. So this is about like reducing number of attributes that have to be listed under each device in each resource slice and to avoid duplication. So instead, there will be kind of templates of devices which lists the attributes, lists counters, and actual devices will reference those templates instead of like enumerating all attributes in every single device. So the question here was about um, like when this flattening should happen, because eventually during scheduling we need to see all attributes and all or counters, and the original proposal was that flattening should happen somewhere before scheduler can see the devices. But that, in my opinion, we would be risking running into memory problems because if we want to reduce the number of things we put into API server, we don't want to expand everything in scheduler because in my mind, we will not be able to control. Well, we are actually users, but users will not have a good way of controlling how much memory they need to allocate for scheduler, because the memory growth will be a bit unpredictable. So I propose that in the memory we should also keep the same representation of templates, and simply during scheduling like walk through and expand, flatten it dynamically. So those changes were applied. So in resource slices, attributes can be, instead of listing all the attributes, they can be referenced by mixins. If you scroll down or display this cap, there is device mixins and device counter consumption mixins and counter sets mixins. So they can be listed in one place and referenced by each device separately.
Okay. I think I have to. Yeah. Anyway, I will take a look to understand what's going on first.
Right. So
Yeah.
feel free to comment.
Yeah. Okay.
So the next one is consumable capacity. So this cap is about like giving ability of resource slices to be shared between different resource claims.
Let's say that again.
So it gives ability to share resource
Mm-hmm.
slices by different resource claims. So many
Okay.
resource claims can bind to one resource slice. Actually, not resource slice, to a device, because these devices can be shareable between different claims. So and the capacity of devices will be defined and consumed by resource claims. So for instance, if you have, in this way, we could model even memory. So when you have some amount of memory, and you can like offer it as a single device,
Mm-hmm.
which can be claimed by several resource claims, which consume portion of this memory.
Okay.
So until the whole memory is consumed, this device can be allocated. But once the memory runs out, then of course it cannot be. So there is a list of so users can define how the capacity is consumed by
Mm-hmm.
defining consumption policy. In particular, the capacity may be unbound, so it may not have any limit, and that is quite interesting construction then, because we can have devices that simply don't have any capacity limits, so can
Mm-hmm.
be consumed by any number of resource claims.
Okay.
And these constructions could be used to model like defining scheduling constraints. So for instance, we could, or someone could offer a region as some other topology domain as a resource, and you could write resource claim which restricts to use only one region or one machine or any other topology domain. It's a bigger topic. We probably can discuss it separately.
Okay.
But anyway,
All
unrestricted
right.
device.
So this one as well, I have to take a look. I think you can, yeah. Anyways, for the next one, device binding condition. I remember this one though.
Yeah. So binding conditions was already planned and approved by us last release cycle. I think
Okay.
Tim Hawking stopped the implementation because there were concerns about how to model attachable devices using this cap.
Sorry,
And
which
the problem,
devices?
attachable devices,
Attachable. Okay.
so which can be attached dynamically after scheduler decision. And the problem was that once the scheduler decides where to put a pod, the binding was supposed to attach a device and fail binding, so that scheduling have to be repeated, and there was no mechanism that makes sure that the second scheduling will actually pick the attached device.
Mm-hmm.
There was
Okay.
even no scoring planned, so there was no guarantee that scheduler won't pick a completely new node without such device attached and trigger another attachment instead of using already attached device. Because without scoring, scheduler would not see a difference between already attached device, against the device which can be attached. So yeah, binding conditions is something I haven't followed up yet about recent discussions, so it's on my
Yeah,
list.
me too. Okay.
Yeah, but
Uh,
actually we have a few other. So we have CAP, which Maciek wrote about asynchronous
yep.
API calls. So this is a new proposal we have discussed, and we should probably make decision like
Yeah, currently it's like a, summary of ideas. So
right. Maciek is still on vacation. Next week he should be back, so I think we will start and come back to it.
yeah, I also haven't got any time reviewing it. So you want to you want to say something? Or what which tag? Wait, if I maybe I
Sorry, no, I think that like I was just commenting a little bit on that, but like
mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that, or my personal opinion is towards like the option of like basically this option that I was commenting on, however it was called. But I think that's like we still need to discuss it a little bit more, which
Okay.
one is the best one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't have any thoughts yet. So yeah.
So is it something that client go implicitly on those requests, or we have to obtain something?
No. That was more like on the idea level, not on the implementation
Okay.
level. Like the Delta FIFO is something that is used underneath in the informer framework, so that
Mm-hmm.
like it gets the objects and is able to like dedupe them and so on. So it's like only it's effectively what the proposal is proposing at the conceptual level, but I don't think we can reuse any code.
Okay. All right, that's interesting. Maybe though we could somehow like come up with a general idea that could be implemented in clientable side. Not sure. So
Maybe I didn't spend enough time.
yeah, yeah.
That was like just the thing that like the meta comment that came to my mind here, that it's like it's effectively a pattern we are using elsewhere, but we should look a little bit deeper here what it means really.
Awesome. Yeah, because yeah, anyway, okay. So he's coming back, so let's discuss more next week. Yes. Do you have any other caps in mind, Dominic?
Right. So this is actually an open question. What can we do for the next release cycle? So we have two like options. We can move forward with nominated no name semantic changes, and this is the discussion I added as a next point. So regarding this, we had in mind mainly the communication of scheduler decisions to external components. So to make cluster autoscaler know what scheduler plans to do. But there are a lot of other related topics we could discuss. But before we jump into this point, we have another like potential cap is about gang scheduling. I haven't speak up in this issue yet, but I think we can actually start the discussion or continue the discussion in the context of making scheduler workload aware. So I don't have any updates. Maybe first I let me put a comment into gang scheduling issue first. But yeah, but I think that's also a possibility for cap in this cycle.
Yeah. Which do you think come first? This one or this one? Because yes, we cannot get all of them.
Exactly. That's why I think we should discuss what we can do, and we can first discuss what we can do with nominated no name semantic change. Even if we don't do one of those in this release cycle, I think we should think about the next release cycle and plan ahead what we want to do.
Yeah.
So now moving to the next point, what we can do for nominated no name. So we have a few things we can address with changing the semantic. As I said, this is a communication of scheduler decisions. So the problem here that we want to address is the problem of a cluster autoscaler, which doesn't know that scheduler plans to use an in some situations it doesn't know that scheduler plans to start a pod on a given node, And in some situations, a node can be turned down before it's used by scheduler.
I think it's
So-
not only cluster autoscaler. I think in general, like if you want to use, or if you use multiple schedulers in your clusters, like that are not splitted by nodes, like you will face the same problem, right? That they can be stepping into each other's toes.
Right.
Yeah,
So
but
another one
actually
is
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, actually that's the point. I mean, I agree that there could be other components that want to consume this information, but I'm not sure if we want to recommend users to have multiple schedulers in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but going
I think-
further, we have.
Sorry, I
Yes,
think
sir.
like I agree with you. I don't think it's like super desired situation, but then on the other hand, like people or some people are already doing that. So like
Yeah,
the
of
question is
course.
like if we can make their lives easier without like going in some completely opposite direction that we don't want. And it seems that like here it's something that is useful in other cases too. So that
Mhm.
might be an argument here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are similar like use cases and problems we could address. So the communication I think in the reverse order. So this is what Wojtek wanted to talk about.
Yeah, so I can maybe briefly before you get to, yeah. So the other example that came to my mind is that with like cluster autoscaler or Carpenter or whatever, like all those like node provisioners,
Yeah.
they are effectively, when they are like creating new nodes, they effectively already did some logic and like computed that or imagine that like I'm creating these 5 nodes for these 7 pods, and I already have like a placement decision for them. So so I was thinking about like using also nominated node for those cases, so that they can effectively set the nominated node name. Well, that's the mechanism we have. Like somehow pass the information to the scheduler that those
Yeah.
nodes were effectively created for those pods, and let the scheduler use that information once the node object appears in the system.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I'm being kicked out of the room, so I need to switch the rooms. I will be back in like 2 minutes or so.
Yeah, I think so. Like the first use case is very clear, like just exporting the scheduling decision to other components. So this is for like, original problem, right? Like scheduler makes the decision, but it's not visible to others, and cluster autoscaler might scale down the node before the pod is actually going. That's the original problem. And this reserve stuff will be like different motivation, right? And my my concern here is like how to prevent the conflict after all.
Yeah, so I
Like
think we can list all those issues below.
mm,
Maybe let's do some.
yeah, there could be like first use cases for the first use case, it's very clear answer, like just using nominated node name to export the scheduling decision. But when it comes to reserve stuff, then we have to think a bit more to address the corner cases.
Yeah. So, mm, for instance, here, so the question is who can set nominated node name? So definitely scheduler can set it.
Yeah.
But if this was if we allow cluster autoscaler to set nominated no name, then of course the problem is what to do with conflicts. Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe let's go through some other cases. So we have, for instance, similar situation with Q. So Q also does some scheduling. And the way they inform a scheduler about that is by setting label on the nodes and using affinity to those labels. So this is a mechanism that actually is similar to nominating nodes. So Q might be in a similar position when they want to say where they think the pod should run. Although it's a little bit different, because for Q, it is very important that that this pod needs to run on this node, because they do topology-aware scheduling, and they don't want scheduler to change their decision. So I think this is a unique requirement. But setting nominated no name actually has a advantage that scheduling is simplified for scheduler. If we have nominated no name already set, we can skip the filtering of all pods, and we start with nominated node first.
Yeah.
So that's another point, that whenever we know where the pod should end up, it would be good to set nominated no name.
Okay, so then currently, like, looks like we have two options, right? To communicate the scheduling decision to scheduler. One is using node selector, node selector, and the other one might be nominated node name. And the difference would be like node selector is hard requirement. Well,
Stronger,
nominated node name could be just ignored if the nominated node is not available when the scheduler is making a decision. So it's like a I would say soft scheduling constraint or something. So as you say, like, yeah, you can go ahead.
No, go ahead. Let's finish your thought, Ivan.
Yeah, as you said, like, we can divide into two like groups, like one which is like probably cross-node scaler. They can just say this pod might be able to go there, but it's okay to ignore this, like just a recommendation of placement. So it's like a soft case, right? And the hard case, like Q, it wants to determine the exact place that the pod is going to go. And I think in this case, it's almost like as we talked first, it's almost like another scheduler in the cluster, because they are determining where to go for the pod. And the scheduler, which is supposed to be making a decision for every pod, but Q wants the decision not to change, not to get changed by the scheduler. So there's like roughly two use cases on like how to like indicate the scheduling decision to scheduler. And I think we should think them separately.
Yeah, I think I wanted exactly to make that very similar point that like in cluster in queue, like it effectively wants to, it's effectively a requirement, as you said. And for cluster autoscaler, we are saying that we already computed the result or the placement decision. We believe that this makes sense. But if you, for example, if you find a place for this pod before even that new node will be created, feel free to go there. So like it's yeah, I think it's I effectively wanted to say pretty much the same thing you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have one more case which I haven't mentioned. So we have those attachable devices and binding conditions. So this is also similar case to cluster autoscaler. So attachable, when we attach device to a node, it's sort of a modification of our cluster state. So this is kind of also scaling up scenario. So when we attach device, we want this attach to be used by a pod which triggered the scaling, triggered the attachment. So we can probably also think about using nominated no name as a soft requirement for scheduling. Maybe requirement is a bad word. Soft requirement.
Yeah, and if we regard this nominated node name reservation as soft requirements, I think we don't have to much worry about conflict stuff, right? Because if, let's say, if the scheduler wants to, so I mean, the pod has nominated node name, but the scheduler maybe at the same time, the scheduler decides where the pod is going to, then we can just ignore nominated node name. Like there's no conflict possibility here. Like always the scheduler's decision is high priority and nominated node name is just a suggestion, like soft requirement. So probably like we don't have too much, worry about conflict that I mentioned before. What do you think?
Yes. Okay. So if anyone can set nominated no name, that would be a change already, because currently only scheduler was capable to do so. If we allow anyone to set it, then we only risk that, of course, API server will resolve conflicts. It will not allow it will only allow one update to go through. Is that correct?
It's true for like individual pod. Like if two components would like to set the nominated node name for the same pod at the same time, then obviously only one will go through. But it will not resolve any conflicts. Like if two different components like will assign or will set the nominated node name for two different pods to the same node, and that will no longer fit. That obviously will not be.
Okay, so only one update will win, and another update will, the conflict in one.
For individual, for a single pod, yes, but like if that's across multiple pods, then no, like all can happen, right?
Yeah. So my point is that like it's okay to nominate it. Like if we implement this one, the scheduler first updates the nominated node name before the pod is going to be scheduled. I mean bound. Then then it binds the pod to the node, right? But at this stage, like let's say, well, even if like the pod's nominated node name that is given by scheduler is overwritten by other components, the scheduler can just bind the pod anyway, right? Because it already internally decides this pod is going to there, then the last step is just bind the pod to the node.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think in
And
the end, like sorry, in the end we should just quickly finishing the sentence. In the end, like it's pretty much a hint for scheduler, so that like we can like either pass the information or like, but in the end, like it's scheduler decision and like it can do whatever
yeah,
it wants. Like it would be good if if it can like meet the like or like satisfy the hinting, but like if it can't or whatever, there's some other problems, like it's fine to ignore that effectively.
yeah, I agree.
Okay, but then at which point someone would set nominated no name? So let's say class autoscaler set nominated no name. Scheduler change that nomination to something different, or simply, or it doesn't change it but just ignores it.
I think so, yeah. It's like
Yeah,
I
it
think the
basically
current semantic is that it clears nomination if it's not correct.
but if
or
it does already the decision, like let's say that it already has a place to put the pod elsewhere, then it can probably also clear the nominated node name, but like it can already schedule it in the new
So I
place.
think it clears when the pod is unschedulable and there's no nomination.
yeah, currently we don't clear any nominated node name when the pod is about to bound. But
Mm-hmm. Yep.
if we want, then we can. Like we can clear, or we can uh, yeah, maybe on the API server side, or I'm not sure, maybe it should be in the binding phase of the scheduler side. Like we can, you know, when we put when we put node name to the pod, then we can put the same node name to nominated node name as well to reduce the confusion, I would say, if we
Either
want.
this or yes, or clear it. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we clear it, then should class autoscaler set it again next time?
Next time the pod should be already scheduled, right?
If it's
Because
scheduled, yes, but if it's unschedulable.
we are talking about the very tiny moment between the scheduler makes already decision and it's about to be scheduled to somewhere, right? About to bound to somewhere, I would say. Like in this case, in this scenario, okay, the first autoscaler sets nominated node name to node one. Sorry, before that, the scheduler schedules the pod and put the nominated node name to node one, then then cluster autoscaler don't have to find the place. So not the case. Let's say the cluster autoscaler and that scheduler put the same put the nominated node name to the same pod at the same time, and then if then afterwards, grass node scale don't have to consider this pod because this pod already has nominated node name, which is either put by the scheduler or grass node scale, depending on the timing, which one it wins. And if we, like we said, if we clear the nominated node name before the pod is going to be scheduled, it's like very like tiny moment, like between, you know, the Kubernetes scheduler in the Kubernetes in the scheduling framework, it's gonna be in the binding phase. So it's like we are nominated no-name cube and bound the pod to the node.
I think
So
I would
there's no such,
actually,
yeah.
I would actually like move that logic to the API server, so that like
Yeah, that was
binding
also
itself
fine.
is like doing whatever is needed with nominated node name field for that particular thing.
Yeah, that would
Can
also
you
work.
say again what exactly would be an API server?
So basically we can switch the binding. Well, we should double check with API reviewers, but I like at least technically we can change the like binding sub resource to not only set the node name but also to set the nominated node name or clear the nominated node name or whether do something with the nominated node name field at the same time, like atomically
During binding.
during binding.
Doing
Okay.
binding API. Yeah.
I think we will have a lot of detailed discussions,
Yep.
and probably we don't have time
Yeah.
during this meeting. So what do you think? Shall we consider all those scenarios for I don't know, for a single or for two different caps, but for this release cycle?
So this discussion,
Just nominated no name.
I think, okay, so for the implementation cost perspective or design cost perspective, nominated no-name should be lower than Yang scheduling. And if, yeah, it depends on the bandwidth after all, I guess.
Yeah,
If we
but on
can
the
do,
other. Mhm.
yeah, if we can, have someone working on this, then we can do this within this release cycle, I think. Because based on the discussion that currently have, looks like there isn't much big problem except some other corner case scenarios, which can be discussed in CAP. So I think it's at least ready to start the CAP. And after all, if we actually do or not would be depending on the bandwidth.
Okay, so can you rephrase it briefly? So which you think is feasible and should be higher priority?
So I mean, feasible, yes. I think this is like pretty feasible,
It is.
but
Okay.
need to be discussed on the cap. I mean, at least it could be already, it's already ready to start the cap, I think, rather than young scheduling, because young scheduling there is a lot of unknowns and we want to discuss before probably starting the cap or maybe on the cap as well. So
Okay.
Mhm.
So I also agree that nominated no name is something more clear for now,
yeah,
but most of all, nominated no name should address a few outstanding problems that we have. So we first
yeah,
of all have this problem, and we have this problem, and this problem is probably more unclear because we would have to open setting nominated no name for other components and only for schedulers. So we need more discussions about details here. Regarding gas scheduling, I think it's important. We have less clarity a bit, but anyway, we wanted to start with API, so it will not bring anything, any improvement yet, because we are not talking yet about implementation. We are just talking in this issue. We were just talking about API, so it is important. I think we will have to move forward with that, but probably it's not feasible to have it in the next release cycle.
But I think I think we should start thinking about that, because the implementation, like we can technically think about implementation independently of the API. I mean, not completely independently, but I can imagine multiple different like APIs that will boil down to the same, roughly the same implementation on the scheduler side. So I think we should, maybe that's not even a single cap. Maybe there are two caps, like for like implementation and scheduler and like the API itself. So, but yeah, I agree. It's important. We should, and I think we should start discussing both.
Gang scheduling and
both free. So like both the nomination of and for gang scheduling, both the API and how to adjust scheduler to be more workload aware.
Yeah, that's a big topic.
It is, yes. That's why I'm not sure I would actually block on figuring out what's the right API for gang scheduling. And it's probably also like we don't need all of that to unblock gang scheduling, but we may need some bits of that.
Okay. Do you think it's feasible we unblock the API for this release? I worried that there will be a lot of problems and discussions we need to finish before the cap freeze, which is fairly soon.
Yeah.
So
yes, sorry.
Yeah, if we take too many problems on ourselves to resolve, we may have problems with time.
I agree with that.
Agree.
I think that regarding like just getting back to your previous question, like can we figure out the API? I think or in general, the rule is that we are not like merging APIs that don't have implementation. So like unless we figure out the implementation, like the API itself won't be merged anyway. So if we believe we can do that within this release cycle, we should think about both.
Okay. Do you agree that nominated no name has a little bit higher priority if we need to resolve like conflicts, what we should focus on?
I think we should. I'm not sure. Like if we would have enough resources to do like gang scheduling, I would say it would be more like higher priority, at least for me. Like that what makes it what may potentially reverse that in my mental model is that it's better to have something than nothing. So, and it seems that it may be, or the probability of having nominated node name happen this release, I think it's higher, but like I'm happy to be outvoted here if it's not true.
Mm-hmm. But so I think nominated non-name can bring us some value in the next release.
I agree.
But gang scheduling we definitely have to or should discuss it, but immediately it won't give us the value in the next release, I think. So that's the difference in my mind.
Yes, the counter argument here is that if we will effectively be able, if we don't start it now, we will effectively be able to say the same thing in the next release. Like, so we just need to start that.
Okay.
But yeah,
I have no doubts that we should start discussions of both. Okay, and we probably agree with that.
Yeah, I think it's just that it's all about bandwidth of us. Like, but this point is, I feel like the point. Maybe we can just prioritize the discussion on the implementation first. Then, even if like thinking about API, it also takes time because we have to collaborate with other people's. But for the implementation side, it's our area that we can just discuss without many folks from other areas. So maybe it takes less time than API. If we can think separate the API and the implementation part, like maybe in a separate cat, then the best scenario would be like we finish the implementation in this release and still discussing API from this release, but we can, delay it to the next release depending on the progress.
Okay, so
I agree.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's discuss both. And yeah, let's see the next week how we are progressing.
Yeah, so okay, as a conclusion, maybe like for this release, at least we try to make both of them happen.
Okay.
Right. I think it's a good time. Perfect timing to finish the meeting. So thanks everyone to join today and have a great day, afternoon. Oh, hi.
Thank you.
Sharing. Right. So have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.